Welcome to the NonProfit World TV show. I'm your guest host, Donna Hagigat, and I would like to welcome to the show Tracy Flater, who is the executive director and co-founder of Playhouse on Park. Welcome, Tracy.
Thank you, Donna. Thanks for having me.
Oh, and full disclosure, Tracy is, I am a member of the board of directors of Playhouse on Park. And as such, I have had such a great time getting to know you, Tracy, and certainly getting to know the Playhouse more.
And it's been great having you as a new member of our board.
Thank you. So one of the great things I think about Playhouse is that now it's 7 years old, and I love the variety of things that the Playhouse does. I think most people would think of it as first and foremost a theater that does great plays. But tell our viewers a little bit more about what are some of the other things that the Playhouse is known for, in addition to sort of not adult in the sort of salacious way, but mature theater for mature audiences.
Sure. Let me just step back a little bit and say that prior to moving into the theater space, there was a Park Road Playhouse was there, and they were a community theater, and they did 5 productions a year. And at all other times, there was nothing going on. And one of the first commitments we made when we walked through the door is to really never be dark, to try to have something going on all the time so that the community would think of us when they were looking for something to do. I wonder what's happening at the Playhouse. So yes, the first step was our Mainstage Series, which is a series of plays and musicals, which that in itself is incredibly diverse, which I think is unusual, or it used to be unusual in a theater to have such a broad variety of plays and musicals and dramas and comedies in your Mainstage Series. But outside of that, we have a theater for young audiences where we have main stage productions performed by professional actors for children. We do comedy, we do improv, we have dance, we have special events. There is definitely something for everyone happening at the theater.
I think one of the entry point for me personally was that I was taking improv classes there. And one of the things I also noticed was that sometimes our improv classes were happening right after there were children's acting classes. So I was surprised and pleased to see that there was right in our own community, children's acting classes for kids who like that as well. How long has that been going?
So that has almost been happening from the very, very beginning, and it was really demand because we thought we've just taken over this space, we really don't have appropriate teaching space. In a few years we'll start offering classes, and it was parents coming to our young audience performances that started to ask us, and we started to offer just a little bit for the handful of people that asked, and they started growing very quickly. So now we are in a position where we're full to the brim and looking for space so that we can grow them even further. So during the school year, we have theater classes obviously after school for children in grades K through 8 and then high schoolers, and then we have the adult programs as well. And then in the summertime, when we have our main stage show at night, we can utilize the theater space during the day, and we have intensive programs, musical theater programs that run for 2 weeks all day long, and then shorter versions for younger children and master classes. So there's a lot happening.
Yes, it's quite a lot of happening, and I salute you for keeping it all going and everything like that. Tell me a little bit about the main stage, or I'd say maybe main stage and also the young audience series. What's happening in the next, for the remainder of the season? I know the seasons usually fall to like late spring.
We go all the way through July, actually.
Okay.
Yes. So in January, we have a show called Title of Show, which is actually the name of the show. And it is a musical about writing a musical. It's only about 10 years old, so it's not very familiar to folks, but it's a really dynamic piece of theater. It was off Broadway, eventually ended up on Broadway. Very creative, very fun. And if you know musical theater, it pokes fun in every way at musical theater. And if you don't, I think you'll get a lot of the jokes anyway. So that's very exciting to us. It has a cult following, a lot of college students who know the work because it's a 4-person play. So it's been done sort of in black box theater situations in schools. So they're really, you know, excited to see it coming. The rest of the population is asking, what is this show about? So we're trying to do a good job to educate people to get them there, because I think they'll enjoy it once they do. From there, we go to a classic with O'Neill's Moon for the Misbegotten. And then we have something very unusual. We have a resident professional dance company, which we are the only regional theater, I think, in the country that has a professional dance company in residence, and that's Stop Time Dance Theater. And they do an original work every year of theater dance, and this year is Rockin' the Forest. So I think you'll see some reminders of the fairy tales of days gone by with Little Red Riding Hood and such. But if you like tap, jazz, theater dance, it's become very popular and it sells out very quickly. We're doing a fairly new piece by Irene Hutton called Last Train to Nybrock. And then we close the Mainstage season with the complete works of William Shakespeare Abridged, which is a comedy. And ironically, we did that comedy in our very first season, but we felt that nobody knew we existed. And little by little, there are some favorite pieces we'd like to bring back now that we have a following. And so that will run for 5 weeks this summer. And it's funny. I remember from our first season, people at intermission literally coming out into the lobby with tears running down their eyes, calling their friends, saying, you have to come see this show. And way back then, we only ran for 2 weeks. So we only had 10 chances to see the show. And it was the first time we ever sold out based on word of mouth. And so we're excited to see where that goes. We've just closed our very first children's show of the season, but later this year, we're bringing a production of The Cat in the Hat, which is a production that was created by the Theatre Company of Great Britain. And it's not a musical. It's a lot of improvisation and sound effects and very, very funny. And it really will appeal to children as young as 3 all the way up through 5th grade, and their parents will enjoy it as well.
And what time of year can we look forward to that?
That is May, June, end of May, beginning of June. And we have 10 public performances. And then we will do probably about 3 weeks with 2 shows a day during the week for school field trips. So we have a Literature Live program. We create a study guide. We send a professional into the classroom for an hour, and then they come and see the show, and they get to do a little meet and greet with the cast. So I think there's a little bit of room left there if someone's involved in a school and they want to bring their class. We have everything from preschool to elementary age students that book through our Literature Alive program.
So I'm listening to you tell me about The Cat in the Hat, and you said that's May, June, and I was thinking, oh, that might be like a nice thing if you're thinking ahead, like Mother's Day for the family. How far ahead can you buy tickets?
They are all on sale now.
Oh, wonderful.
Through the end of July. And we will be heading into our 9th season starting in September. And that season will be announced usually in April. And tickets for everything are usually on sale by June 1st. Okay. So you can really plan ahead and think ahead. And
how about if I'm somebody who's interested in maybe the improv or whatever other unique things are going on, how do I find out about that?
Absolutely, the best way is the website or to join our e-newsletter.
And what is the website?
It is www.playhouseonpark.org.
Okay. And signing up for the e-newsletter, so I just visit your homepage?
Just visit the homepage. There's a little field right on the front that you can just enter your email address. Or you could just give us a call and say, please add me to your e-newsletter, and we'll pop you on the list. It can be pretty simple.
Great. And how about, are you on social media?
We are. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. You can find us usually by just searching Playhouse on Park.
Wonderful. Yeah. So if somebody has not been to one of the shows at Playhouse and they want to understand sort of what the different flavor is that Playhouse has as compared to maybe Theater Works, Hartford Stage, what do you think sets Playhouse apart and the experience there?
I mean, I think the first and foremost is the intimacy. We are a 163-seat theater, and we have a 3/4 thrust stage, which means those seats surround 3 sides of the stage. So there's only 4 rows in the entire audience. No matter where you sit, there's really not a bad seat. And I think our patrons find it to be a much more immersive experience rather than sort of sitting back and watching it. You're almost a part of it because you are so close, and you really can't check out as an audience member. You're really accountable to the actors, and the actors are really accountable to you. So always, the first thing that happens when someone comes to see a show is they say, I had no idea you were here, which I think it takes getting someone in the door the first time to realize that we're here, that it's a very comfortable place to enjoy theater, and that the work is professional. And so that always happens. And then people always say to us, I saw this show on Broadway or in London, and this was better. And while maybe it might be better, but for the most part, it's that they're feeling it very differently than seeing it from the 30th row in a proscenium.
Sure, you're right. Theater. You're almost a part of the action.
You're almost a part of the action, yes. And I think that our directors direct the shows so that nobody is slighted. There's not really a bad seat in the house, and everybody leaves with that same experience. And the same for children. When we bring our field trip kids in, they're seeing this show so up close that they pay so much attention, whereas if you go into a really large theater, I mean, the theater itself becomes the distraction, and you're in row N and you're looking everywhere, so we find that to be the same almost experience for young audiences as well.
That's great. I think one of the wonderful things that the Playhouse does for theater goers is the restaurant benefit program.
Dining partners.
Yes, the dining partners. So Playhouse is wonderfully situated on Park Road in West Hartford. Tell me a little bit more about what the history is of the dining program and sort of what the perks are that somebody can expect to get.
Sure. It was my idea, I think, as soon as the first year we moved in, that if the community really embraced and supported us in so many ways. We really wouldn't have survived the first year or two if it weren't for the support of our neighbors. And it was one idea we had just to give back, that if people were going to drive to West Hartford to see a show, and we have audiences from all over Connecticut, Western Mass, out of state, that we wanted them to keep their dining dollars local. And so, we partnered with 1 or 2 restaurants in the first year, and now I think we have 17, that if you show your ticket before or after the show you're attending, you receive whatever discount they're offering. And that varies from 10 to 15 to 20% off your check, or 50% bottle of wine with your meal, really depending on the restaurant that you visit. And there's everything from A.C. Peterson's and Joey's Pizza Pie, that's more family-oriented, to more upscale sweet chili Thai, risottos. I mean, the list goes on. Some of the Max restaurants, Max Oyster, Max Burger, but they're all on the website, and it's well worth remembering that. I hear patrons all the time go, I just ate there on purpose because of the dining partner program, and I forgot to tell them. But I do know that the restaurants see business because of that, and we're really proud of that.
And I know that sometimes when we want to take friends to the theater, we use that as an occasion to then go out and say, oh, and we had a discount, so let's pick one of these restaurants as well. So that's very nice as well. Tell me a little bit about the history of the theater, how you are one of the co-founders. Where'd the idea come from?
By accident. There was a theater space there for 9 years called the Park Road Playhouse, and it is housed in what used to be a garage that housed 44 milk delivery trucks for A.C. Peterson's, and the community came together to build the theater space, which still exists. And unfortunately, that theater company went through a bankruptcy, and they left that space in May of 2009. Ironically, several months before, I stumbled upon an opportunity to potentially build theater space elsewhere in Connecticut. And needing advice, I brought in who's now one of my partners, Darlene Zoller, because of her experience in dance, not just as a dancer herself, but she's a choreographer and she's an educator. And we were sort of starting this process of looking at some space that was going to be developed into a mixed-use development property. And you know, she had a friend who has always wanted his own theater, and she brought along our other business partner, Sean Harris, and he's an actor and a director and a theater educator. You know, we sort of had that trifecta of they had the artistic skill, and I was an arts administrator at the time. And so we started to build a 3-year plan to bring this other theater space to fruition, and we needed to produce some work for the investors. So we were going to rent the space, the Park Road Playhouse, for 2 productions over the upcoming summer, and had a meeting, and we were all on board to do that, and we never got our contract, and we started hearing rumors that they were going to close and not be there, and we weren't sure what to do, and the landlord called and did admit that that was the situation, but that we could still rent the space through her. So that's all we wanted. We were very happy, and we thought that was the end of it. And then we got another phone call where several members from the town of West Hartford and the Park Road Association and the Chamber of Commerce and kind of called us to a meeting. And at the time, there was some other business closings on the street. It was 2009 when the economy wasn't very strong. And there was great fear that another staple business on the street would be boarded up. So they sort of twisted our arm and asked if we would consider taking over the space. And our 3-year plan turned into a 2-month plan. So we incorporated a month later and moved in the month after that, held a few performances that summer, and kicked off our first season in September with, I think we had 9 main stage shows that year. It was a little aggressive.
So you haven't stopped running since then?
We have not, and it's been an uphill challenge being a brand new nonprofit that started in the worst economic time possible. Took us 14 months to get our nonprofit status. We had to build a board, we had to build a reputation, we had to have people understand that we were now a professional theater versus a community theater. And you know, it was little by little that people started to come. We never, as challenging as it ever became, we tried never to waver in the quality of our work. And really that's why we're still here today, is because the consistent quality of the work. You know, we now are a member of the Connecticut Critics Circle. We've won numerous awards. Money Magazine just acknowledged our contribution to the town. So I think
they said you were the jewel of the town or something to
something
that
like that.
Yes.
Yes. So so I think that the work we do has become more and more validated each year. We have more and more people finding out that we're there and coming to see the work. And you know, we still have a long way to grow, but we're definitely proud of how far we've come, all by accident.
It's wonderful. So in addition to donating directly to the theater to support its work, or buying subscriptions to the theater, or certainly one-off play tickets, what are other ways that individuals can volunteer or help the Playhouse?
Sure. I mean, we always need volunteers in any and all capacity, from ushering to cleaning the theater to, you know, painters and carpenters and office staff. I mean, a lot of people volunteer on a regular basis. Some maybe a couple of hours a month. Some are in there regularly. We have a pretty established internship program, so we have a lot of mentorship happening at all times in the theater. If monetary donations are one way to help, but we also have a wish list, and regularly people will go to the store and they'll kind of always have our wish list in their pocketbook, and they'll come in with an extra box of envelopes, or you know, so that's another way. We look for host homes to house our actors, sewers, people to come and work in organizing our costume shop. I mean, there are so many opportunities working on our marketing committee or our development committee, or helping with a fundraising event. So we have the Mayor's Charity Ball, which is our big black tie gala each year. And
tell me a little bit about the Mayor's Charity Ball and what Playhouse's role is with that.
Sure. So this will be our 7th year being a beneficiary of the ball. And the ball has right now 2 beneficiaries. We partner with the Town That Cares. And to be a beneficiary, you actually have to run the event. So it is called the Mayor's Charity Ball, and the mayor is there, and definitely a lot of employees of Town Hall are there. But it's really an event for the community to support the 2 nonprofits that benefit from. So it is an expensive ticket, but it's a full sit-down dinner catered by Max's. There's dancing, there's live and silent auction. It's underneath a beautiful tent on the front lawn at the Town Hall of West Hartford. There was a sort of misconception for a long time that it was only if you were in politics you could come, but it is absolutely not that. It is for anyone to attend who believes in the mission of the ball, which is to support the town that cares and Playhouse on Park. But we do all the work, so we have a whole army of volunteers that run that event and collect auction items and decorate and everything that comes with having a gala.
So even if I don't know the mayor, I can go to the mayor's charity ball and I'll be supporting Playhouse on Park and the town that cares.
Absolutely.
And what is the date? When is that?
This year it's May 13th, and it's from 6 p.m. to midnight.
Okay, wonderful.
It's fun too. We have a good reputation of being a fun gala. So.
And I understand you also have an annual beer garden. Tell me about
We do.
Is that a fundraiser?
It is a fundraiser, and it started a few years ago, again, sort of by accident. A local liquor store had this idea to kind of pair up with us and hold a fundraiser, and Maximum Beverage is our sponsor, and we sort of pair up sampling beers with sampling food from local restaurants, and there's usually some live music and some prizes, and that's another fun event, much more affordable ticket. You know, it's usually in the $35 price range or $40 price range, but it's fun and it's educational. You learn about lots of different kinds of beers, and you get to eat great food, and there's been some great food donated by local restaurants. But yes, we raised over $7,500 just in 3 hours, 4 hours, and everyone had a good time.
Wonderful.
Yep.
So title of show, which is the next show, and it's a comedy, which I think is needed these days.
Yes.
When does that show open?
That is open from the 11th of January all the way through the 29th of January.
Okay, so coming up.
Yes, and so for all of our main stage shows, what's important to recognize is the first Wednesday and Thursday are preview performances. Okay. So all seats for those performances are only $17.50. We're on a normal night; they might be as high as $50. So the previews they're like a final dress rehearsal, but we've never ever stopped. And they're very popular. We even have preview subscribers that have been coming for years on that night. And then we have another 13 performances on top of that. There's tiered pricing, so you can pick the price level that's best for you. We also have student rush opportunities.
Lots of ways to see a professional theater at an affordable price.
And if you peek at the website, there's even a lunchtime special, and the details about that are on our website, where you can get a really affordable ticket the day of the show.
Well, I think it's amazing. Thank you for coming and telling us about this innovative professional theater in an intimate space. And hopefully we'll get a lot of our viewers coming out to see a performance, if not title of show, then one of the other performances, either for children or kids, or adults, in the next season. Thanks so much for being with us,
Thank
Tracy.
you. Thanks for having me.
Sure. This has been another episode of the Nonprofit World TV show. If you know of a nonprofit that you think should be featured on this show, please give us an email at thenonprofitworldtvshow@gmail.com. And thank you. Our producer is Sara DeGraff.